I love war movies, especially old war movies. They are kind of my go-to genre when I'm trying to think of a movie for us to watch as a family because we all like them. My mom likes them, my dad likes them, they've got action, there's a minimum of lovey-dovey stuff, but sometimes it's thrown in there and it's not always a terrible thing. So today I'm talking about 5 World War II movies that I really like, that I recommend. There are all different ways you can categorize your World War II movies: old, new, made during the war, British, American, European theater, Pacific theater. I'm not going with any one category. I'm just picking the ones that I think are really good, solid World War II movies, with less of a focus on combat and more just on people and characters. So that's one thing they have in common. And also, they're all pre-1965, and they're all big movies with really great large ensemble casts and some really well-known names. Without further ado, here are 5 awesome World War II movies that I recommend, not in any particular order. Casablanca, 1942. Now, everybody knows about this movie. A lot of people put it on their lists as a romance, and yes, I suppose I can see that. But for me personally, it's about way more than that. It is an American movie about Europeans before Americans entered the war. The supporting cast is just awesome, and I love everyone. Claude Rains, Conrad Veidt, Peter Lorre. I think that my favorite thing about it is the thread of patriotism that runs through it. Rick's struggle as the sole American of the entire crew of people. His struggle to not get involved at all, and yet he can't help it. But also Paul Henreid's character, Victor Laszlo, his underground efforts, and the way everyone just surges together. My favorite scene is definitely the part where they're in the cafe and tensions have already been kind of heightened, and the Nazis have had a little bit to drink, and they start singing their national anthem, and everyone's kind of looking at each other like, what do? We don't like this, but we can't really do anything about it. And Paul Henreid, Victor Laszlo, just jumps up and goes over to the band and tells them to play the French national anthem, and he starts singing it, and everybody else joins in, and the Nazis get louder, and then the people singing the Marseillaise get louder, and there's just this awesome musical battle between the two anthems and the patriotism and everything, and it's also a very emotionally intense moment, and I just really love that scene. It's such an iconic movie. Everybody should see it at least once. I love the characters and the tensions, and the script is really snappy and fast, and you gotta keep on top of everything that's going on or else you might get a little lost, and it is just a really good, solid movie. Battleground from 1949. This movie stars Van Johnson, John Hodiak, Ricardo Montalban, and a bunch of other people, James Whitmore. This one is based on a true story, and I don't want to talk about it too much because I'm just afraid I'll say something wrong. But it's a small group of American infantrymen around the time of the Battle of the Bulge. They're in Belgium. There's snow everywhere, and they're on the lookout for Nazi soldiers. For some reason, I really enjoy old infantry movies. Something about just the struggle of the common foot soldier and the dry humor and the camaraderie. It takes time to develop the individual characters and their relationships with each other, how they grate on each other, the different friendships that have been made between strangers who have only been brought together because of this war. They're just guys going along, and you get to know them and love them and see how they interact with each other. That's why I like movies like this, It's not just nameless faces. They are guys. They are people like our grandfathers who were fighting. They were just plucked from whatever their different backgrounds were and sent off to fight, and they didn't really know what they were doing, but they rose up to the challenge, and this is a really good movie for showcasing that. Since You Went Away from 1944. This one's a little bit different. It is more female-focused. It stars Claudette Colbert and Jennifer Jones and Shirley Temple, and it is about those people who were left behind to fight the war on the home front. I've seen Claudette Colbert in a few war movies, and she is always on point with her performances. In this movie, her husband has gone off to fight, leaving her and her 2 daughters. She's suddenly in charge of the household. She has to scrimp and save. She's missing her husband awfully. And there are some really sad, heart-wrenching scenes. Like, there's one part where She has this tiny window of opportunity to go and see her husband at the train station, and she just misses him. And put yourself in her place and just. She doesn't even know if her husband's gonna come back, but she can't let herself down. She can't just go crawl into a ball in her room and be alone. She's gotta be strong for the family and for everyone else. It's got some great performances from other people though. Joseph Cotton's in it, so that is automatically a plus in my book, and he's a really fun character. It's kind of a long movie, but it's totally worth it. The Great Escape, 1963. This movie, I feel like I've been watching it since forever. When I was like a little kid, I remember going in the video store and they had it on display, and I was like, hey, I've seen that, I know that movie. Total dork. Awesome cast. Steve McQueen, Richard Attenborough, James Garner, Donald Pleasance, a ton of people. It's just so many people. No women. This movie, if you haven't seen it, what are you doing? Go see it. But if you are one of those people who has not seen it, it's about allies working together to try to escape a Nazi prisoner of war camp. It's just really good. I love the characters. I love the different personalities and how they have to work together and kind of compromise what they think is the best thing to do. Watching their hopes rise and fall, and they're so cheeky about things, and just like the cleverness of it all. Like, one of my favorite things is, this is stupid, but when they're digging the tunnels and they need a place to put the dirt, and David McCallum has come up with like these little things that you can put in your pants, and you put the dirt in them, and then you go walk around the garden and you just kind of like pull the strings and the dirt comes out and you just kick it around. I love that. Sometimes there's like a part of a movie that is not crucial to the plot at all, but like you just fixate on that and you're like, oh, I can't wait for this scene because I love it so much. That is that scene for me. Really, just go watch it. Like, I mean, finish this video and then go watch it. The Best Years of Our Lives, 1946. This movie is not so much a war movie as a post-war movie. Obviously, 1946 release year. This is dealing with the struggles of servicemen to return to normal life after the war is over. It follows three men in particular: Frederick March, Dana Andrews, and Harold Russell. They've all been overseas, serving their country in different capacities, and now they come back and they have changed, and the life they left behind has changed. How do they interact with their families now, with their wives, their girlfriends, their children? Can they return to their old jobs? How do they fit in with society now? Does everybody look at them differently? This is another case where I have to say that the entire cast is excellent, including Myrna Loy, Teresa Wright, Virginia Mayo. They all play their parts so well. Probably the most noteworthy thing is Harold Russell's part. Harold Russell lost his hands in the war. He has these metal hooks attached to his arms instead of hands. He's already, started getting used to it, and to see him struggle with his family's reaction and the girlfriend that he had at home before is really tough. But it is a great performance, and he deservedly won an honorary Oscar for that. I think he won an honorary Oscar and actually an Oscar for supporting actor for that role. So before it gets any brighter in here, I'm gonna end there. Those were 5 old World War II movies that I love, that I highly recommend. Thanks for watching!